Hello everyone and welcome to this another episode of 3D prototyping in Unity. My name is Kasanas. In the last episode, we took care of building ourselves a Ragdoll zombie asset, and it was really straightforward. We basically built ourselves the Ragdoll using the wizard itself. Now we have to put that Ragdoll to use. We want to instantiate that Ragdoll whenever our zombie dies. All right, let's get started. Okay guys, so this episode is basically going to be a coding episode, and we're not going to really write any new scripts. We're basically going to be altering scripts we already have existing. So if you followed along last episode, you did create your Ragdoll zombie, and you made it into a prefab. And after that point, if you want to delete it out of your scene, you can. But make sure it's a prefab first, okay? So here's my zombie right here, my prefab Ragdoll zombie. Now basically what I want to do is instantiate this whenever our zombie dies. Let's go ahead and take a look at our zombie. Let's go find it in here. Zombie. Where are you, zombie, soldier? Zombie. All right, here's our zombie right here. And we already have some things that we can manipulate in our zombie itself. We already know when our zombie dies, right? On our top layer of our zombie, we have something called zombie health. So let's open up our enemy health right now, our enemy health script. Let's open it up right now and take a look. Well, we already know when our actual zombie dies. We have our, oh yes, that's right, I forgot I did this, I darkened it. Let's go in here as well and zoom in a bunch of times. Zoom in, zoom in, zoom in, and one more, zoom in. All right, you guys should be able to see that really clearly. Okay, so we've already got there's a space here and that's bugging me. We've already got this enemy, oh, this is player health. Let's close this, we don't need you player health, and yes, save it, save. Okay, we already have our enemy health here, and our enemy health already has in it a behavior to be able to tell us whether or not our enemy dies. All right, let's scroll down and find it. Awake, add damage effects, add fire, make dead. All right, here's our make dead, and that's exactly where we want to be looking for this object. Now, in the past, all we did in make dead is we played a clip to make sure that the zombie itself made a noise. That's great. And after that, we just destroyed everything. All right, if it was able to drop some stuff, we dropped some stuff. Now, we still want to destroy the game object like we're doing here. But we want to go beyond this, and what we want to do is we want to actually, we still want to play the audio source, we still want to do all of this kind of stuff, but we also want to instantiate, I don't think we're ever going to turn off movement. I don't know why that says that there. Anyway, we are going to instantiate our actual zombie character. All right, so the first thing I want to do is I want to go through and I want to find something else. I want to find, let's go over here and find it in our actual asset first. I want to go into my zombie, and I'm going to look for under zombie detection, I'm going to look for my zombie controller. All right, I'm going to open that up as well. All right, in my zombie controller, the reason why I want to look for this zombie controller is in the zombie controller, we already know the facing of our zombie, and that's going to become important later on. Whenever we instantiate this new Ragdoll character, this new Ragdoll asset, we want to make sure that it takes the relative shape and form of the zombie itself. So it kind of replaces it as close as we could get it and have it collapse in a believable manner. Now, this is truly where we run into some problems here. We can't go through and flip our Ragdoll so it takes on the exact shape of our existing zombie, and the reason why is, and I didn't know this because you don't normally do it like this. You don't normally use a flipping technique, but what happens when you try and flip the Ragdoll is everything gets messed up. It all gets screwed up. Limbs fly in different directions. They go inside out. Terrible, terrible things happen. So we're not going to be able to do that. But we still have to know whether our zombie is facing the left side or the right side. And it's right here inside of the zombie controller that we actually go through and do that. Let's go through and find out where, right here. There's our flipping, all right? And that determines whether or not we are flipped right or left. And we already have something within here that tells us whether or not we flipped right or left, all right? So ultimately, we're going to write our instantiation code for the asset, for the actual Ragdoll asset, inside of the zombie controller. For now, we're going to go back to enemy health. In the enemy health, what we want to do is we want to try and find the zombie controller. So first of all, let's look for our zombie controller. All right, every zombie's got one, and if we've got one, that means that we've got ourselves a zombie. All right, that what we've killed is actually a zombie. This enemy health, because I've written everything very modular and allows you to add things and remove things to create different enemies very, very quickly. It's all, like I said, because it's all modular, we're going to have to go through and make sure that what we've killed is a zombie. So we're going to look for the zombie controller because every zombie has a zombie controller. So the first thing we're going to do, we're going to say zombie controller, and let's just call it a zombie because we know it's a zombie. All right, is going to be equal to, and what we're going to try and do is we're going to get component and get component. And instead of doing get component straight up, we're going to get component in children. And that's because the zombie controller is located somewhere within the child of the actual zombie itself. Right? So let's go through and we're going to look for the zombie controller. So zombie controller. Boom, 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 boom. All right, so we're in the top layer right now. This enemy health is in the top layer, and somewhere within the children is the actual zombie controller. Or so we hope. If it's not, then it's not a zombie. So if we don't, if a zombie does not equal null, so if we actually find something, which is what we're hoping, that if we actually find something, and then we know it's a zombie. All right, so if it does not equal null, then we're going to go in here. Let's actually add both of our brackets in. And what we're going to do is we're going to call a function we're going to write. We don't have a function currently available yet. So let's go over to our zombie controller. All right, in our zombie controller, we actually want to go through here and instantiate our ragdoll. We want to make sure the ragdoll looks the same as our original zombie, because remember, when we set up our zombies, whenever we set up our zombies, we add in a different texture, and we want to make sure that the actual zombie ragdoll zombie looks the same as our real zombie. All right, so what we're going to do, we're going to go through and we're going to write a brand new script that we're going to call ragdoll death. And you can add that in right underneath your flip function. Let's add it in right here. And we're going to call it, it's going to be a public. It's going to be a void because it's not returning anything. And we're going to call it ragdoll death. Now, at the top, let's add this in and this. All right, at the top, we're going to add something else. Let's go to the very top here, and we're going to add in a public game object that we're going to call ragdoll dead. And this is just going to be a link to our actual game object, the actual asset of the ragdoll itself. All right, let's go back down. Ragdoll death right here. Now, first thing we got to do is we're going to instantiate the actual ragdoll. All right, and we're gonna make sure we have a link to it. So game object. And we'll just call it ragdoll, I guess. Ragdoll. Let's make it a capital D. Ragdoll is going to be equal to instantiate. And what are we going to instantiate? First thing we're going to instantiate is our ragdoll dead. All right, that's our link. Ragdoll dead. And where are we going to instantiate it? We want to instantiate it at the transform. Why is it not giving me the small t option? I hate it when it does that. Transform dot root. We're going to be looking at the root. And we're going to be looking at the transform's position. All right, so transform dot position. All right, and so basically what this is saying, because we are writing this in the child of the actual zombie, we don't want to instantiate the ragdoll where this child is located. What we want to do is instantiate the ragdoll at the location of the actual zombie main character. All right, so we're going to instantiate it at the transform position, the root transform position, and we're going to instantiate it with, just for now, with a quaternion dot identity, and we'll make a twist to it later on. So basically with 0 rotation, and we're going to instantiate it as a game object. You have to write this, if not, it tries to instantiate it as an object, and later on it gives you some trouble. You don't like trouble. I don't like trouble. You don't like trouble. Okay, so the next thing we want to do is we want to find the master of both the zombie itself and the master of the ragdoll. Now, master, if you know the hierarchy of this character well, the master itself is the root node of the rig. All right, so basically what I'm going to try and do is find out where the rig is on each of the characters. Once I can find the rig, then I can match the bones and their orientation from the ragdoll, or sorry, from the character we've killed to the ragdoll itself, and that way our ragdoll will have the same orientation as the actual character, or as close to it as we can get. Like I said, we've got some problems where the flip doesn't work. The flip won't work, and we're going to have to rotate our character to kind of give it a look as close to our zombie as we can. And as long as it's close, people aren't going to notice. When the character collapses, people aren't going to really notice. And it'll be exact on zombies that aren't flipped, but it'll be a little bit off on zombies that are flipped. All right, so let's first of all take a look for that. We're going to look for the transform, a capital T transform of the Ragdoll. We're going to call this thing Ragdoll Master. Let's call it Ragdoll Master. And it's going to be equal to the Ragdoll dot, and we're going to be looking for the transform of this actual object. And in order to find it, we've already instantiated. It's been instantiated now. We can simply use the transform dot find. All right. So we're going to use the Ragdoll dot transform dot find. All right, and this is going to allow us to look for a particular thing. In this case, we want to look for something with a name master. All right, so we're going to look for the transform of master. All right, and we're going to do exactly the same thing with the actual zombie. So once again, transform, and we're going to call this thing here, let's call it zombie master, because that sounds scary, is going to be equal to. And this time here, we're going to look for the transform of the object that we're calling this on. This is being called on our actual zombie. So we can just look on the transform, small t transform, dot root. We're looking for on the root. And we're going to try and find somewhere in that root. So we're going to use the find function again. Somewhere in that root, we're going to try and find, once again, the master. All right, great. Now, once we've found this master, what we can do is we can, like I said, we can go through each and every bone and make sure the bones have the same orientation. Before that, what we want to do is find out whether or not this thing has been flipped. Okay, so we already know whether or not it's going to be flipped. So we're gonna set up a new bool here, and we're going to call it was facing right. And this new bool is going to start off equal to true. And what we're going to do is we're going to go through and find out if it actually was true. So if we are not facing right, and we already have a facing right. That's why we wrote this in the zombie controller, because this is where we determine whether or not it's been facing right in our flip function. So if we're not facing right, then we want to do some stuff. What do we want to do? We want to say was facing right is equal to false, first of all. All right, and we want to flip our actual character. So we're going to flip it right now. And the reason why we want to do this flip, and this is all going to be happening invisibly. You're not going to see it at all. It's all going to be happening invisibly. The reason why we want to do this, is because we want to make sure we get the bone orientation appropriately. So we're going to flip any zombie that had been flipped and was facing right, it was facing left. Any zombie that was facing left, we're going to flip them around so they're facing right again, and then we'll have all of the appropriate bone orientations. And this is a workaround, guys. This is a workaround. I'm showing you this. A lot of game design is about working around issues that you come in contact with. And this was an issue that I came in contact with. That's why I left it there. All right, so the next thing we want to do is we want to go through and we want to find all of the transforms of the individual zombie and of the individual ragdoll. All right, so let's go in here and let's give ourselves a little bit more room down here. Let's go in here and transform. We're going to be looking for transform. We're going to be looking for an array of transforms. All right, basically what we want to do is find. Oh, not those, these. We want to find all the transforms of the joints. That's basically what we're going to be looking for here. All right, so we're going to be looking for, first of all, the ragdoll. So we're going to put them all into ragdoll. Let's call it joints. That's perfectly fine. It's going to be equal to our ragdoll master. Ragdoll. Oops. Oh my God, I'm hitting all the wrong buttons. Ragdoll master. All right, we're going to be looking for the ragdoll master. We're going to do get component, get components in children. So we're going to be looking for all the components in the children, and we're going to be looking for all the transforms. Transforms. All right. Bam, bam, bam. All right, that's going to give us all of the joints, all of the transforms for all of the joints in the actual ragdoll. We're going to do exactly the same thing for all the joints of our existing. Zombie. All right, and we'll just call this thing current joints. It's going to be equal to, and in this case here, we're going to use our zombie master dot get components in children. Same thing we did before, and we are going to use our transform here. Bam, bam, bam. and bam. All right, so once again, that's going to give us a list of an array of all of the actual joints in the, did I spell something wrong here? Yes, I did. Let me just make sure this is not looking right. This is what I spelled wrong. There we go. All right, it's going to give us a list of all the joints that are in the Ragdoll and a list of all the joints that are in the actual current zombie. Now, what we want to do is we're going to set up an array, a loop, a couple of different loops actually here, and we're going to say, let's say I is an int I is going to be equal to 0. And what we basically want to do is we want to iterate through each of the joints and set all of the orientations equal. So as long as I is less than the Ragdoll joints, all right, dot length, obviously, dot length. So as long as we're going to iterate through the entire Ragdoll joint list, I plus plus, and we're going to also, let's put another thing right away, and we're also going to go through we're going to go through, let's say q, int q is equal to 0. We're going to go through all of the actual joints of the actual zombie itself. So we're going to go through that q, and we're going to do exactly the same thing here. Q is less than our current joints dot length. Once again, we're only going through the length. Semicolon q plus plus. All right, so let me put in some spacing in here so you guys can see a little better. Bam. All right, so what are we going to do inside of here? Let's put in our brackets so we've got everything set up. So basically what we want to do is if the name of the joints are the same, they should be the same, right? The Ragdoll is based off of the actual zombie, so the joint names should be the same. If the joint names are the same, then we're going to set the positions and the rotations to the same. Okay, the positions shouldn't really change. We probably don't have to do the positions, but we're going to do it anyway just to make sure. All right, so if current joints q, if current joints q dot name, we're going to be looking at the name dot compare to what's built-in function, the Ragdoll joints, Ragdoll joints. If the names compare, I dot name. So if they actually compare, equals 0. So this is how you do the comparison. So if the name compared to the other name, so if the current joint name compared to the Ragdoll joint's name is the same, that means equals 0, means they're the same, then we want to do some stuff. Boom, boom, boom. All right, what do we want to do? We want to actually go in and we want to set the Ragdoll joints, that current Ragdoll joints, to dot position, equal to the current joints q dot position. All right, position, and we also want to set our Ragdoll joints. Oh God, my typing is so bad today. Ragdoll joints once again dot rotation. Oh my God, rotation equal to the current joint location. Current joints q dot rotation. All right, so with that in place, afterwards, once we've identified the joint that matches, we want to break out. All right, and that'll just simply go through and it'll set everything up normally. So right now we've got our zombie twisted. He's facing into the natural position, so they both have the same orientation. Everything is exactly the same. Okay. Now what we want to do next is we're gonna have to flip our zombie. So if our actual zombie was facing left, then we want our other dude to face left too, our Ragdoll to face left. So if was facing right, if it was facing right, all right, then everything is fine. So vector 3, obviously. Sorry, we had a brain fart there. Rot. We're going to name this thing rot vector, I guess. It's fine. Rotation vector is going to be equal to a new vector 3 vector 3, that has 0, 0, 0, 0 as its orientation. All right, and then we're going to set our ragdoll dot transform dot rotation, local rotation, no, just rotation, sorry, rotation, equal to the quaternion identity dot Euler, sorry, not identity, Euler of our rot vector. Vector. There we go. All right, so basically what we're doing here is we're setting it up so that the rotations are the same. Nothing's changed here. It's facing, if it was facing right, then that's great. Otherwise, it's not facing right. So we're going to have our else in here, right? And if it's not facing right, we're going to have to do some stuff to it. And it's going to actually end up looking, we're going to want the same thing almost. Just drag and copy this, edit, copy it. Oh, son of a bitch. Delete, Control D, Control Z. All right, edit, copy, paste. All right, so in this case here, we're gonna we could have just done this once, I guess, but we're gonna have a new vector. It's with a 90-degree rotation. I think that's right. I'll have to go back and double check here. If it's not rotated properly, then we'll know. All right, so we're gonna have a 90-degree rotation to it, and once again, we want to set our thing to the appropriate rotation. All right, so now that gets our zombie facing in the right way. Now, the last thing we want to do underneath our if statement right here, a couple more lines of code, guys, a couple more lines of code. I know it's long. What we want to do is we want to make sure that that our actual material on both zombies is the same. If the material doesn't match, then it's going to be obvious. Like if we had a blue guy up there and suddenly has a white shirt, it doesn't match, it's going to be obvious. So we're going to take care of that right now. So the material itself is located on the zombie soldier. Everything, let me see if we can see it over here. Let me move this over a little bit so you can see. Everything here has zombie soldier. Zombie soldier itself is where our actual mesh is located. So let's go in here. Boom. And what we're going to try and do is on each of the zombie itself and on the ragdoll, we're going to look for the zombie mesh, and we're going to set the material of the zombie mesh equal to the material of zombie mesh of the ragdoll to the material of the zombie mesh of our existing zombie. So let's go through and look for it. We're going to look for the transform of the we'll call it zombie mesh, and this is going to be equal to transform dot root. Once again, we're going to the root dot transform dot find, and this time what we're going to try and find is something called quotations zombie soldier, just like we see over here, zombie soldier. All right, zombie soldier, quotations, boom, 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 bam. All right, and we want to do exactly the same thing on the ragdoll itself. So let's go through and look for a transform, and we will call this thing here ragdoll mesh. Doesn't really matter what we call it. Is equal to same thing. Oh no, sorry, not same thing. Obviously, we're going to be looking for the ragdoll, not the ragdoll, the ragdoll dot transform dot find. And once again, we're going to be looking for the zombie soldier. All right, that is where all of our mesh information is located. Okay, great. So far, so good. Last thing we want to do is we want to set our ragdoll mesh. Ragdoll mesh dot get component. And what we're looking for is the actual renderer. Renderer. Looking for the actual renderer. All right, that's what we're looking for. And dot material. Oops, we forgot our brackets. Dot material. We're actually looking for the material, and we're just going to simply set it equal to the zombie mesh dot get component. Get component. Once again, we're looking for the renderer dot material. All right, boom, and that's it. I'm going to file save this, and as long as we don't have file save, I'm really hoping we don't have any errors. All right, so now we have to go back to it. So that's everything we have to do within the actual zombie controller. We've gone through, we've set everything up. Hopefully everything is the same. Hopefully it's going to match afterwards. Bam, let's go back to the actual enemy health. And in the enemy health now, all we have to do is make a call to we have to make a call to that thing here in our if statement, in our make dead. All right. So if it is a zombie, so it's not equal to null, then a zombie dot, and now we have access to the ragdoll death. Bam. We have access to ragdoll death. Bam. All right, and I'm going to save this. File save. Okay, so if everything is okay, let me close this. Let's see how everything went in here. All right, so I've got one warning. That's fine. I don't mind warnings at all. All right, now, if we go back to our actual zombie now, we should have, within our zombie detection, in our zombie controller, we should have a brand new a variable that's called ragdoll dead, and that ragdoll dead is obviously going to be equal to our prefab ragdoll zombie. So I'm going to drag it and I'm going to drop it right in there. All right, and I'm going to go to my zombie itself and I'm going to say apply to make sure that it goes to all of my other ones from this point on. Okay, great. Now let's see what happens when I kill this guy. Fingers crossed. Let's move him out of the way first of all so he doesn't detect us, because I don't want him to detect me. Let's put our maximize on play on and hit play. Fingers crossed, everyone. Jump. Okay, he's facing that way. He's wearing blue. Died. He's still wearing blue, and he dropped his heart. All right, let's try it again, and hopefully this time he's facing left. Let's see. Okay, good. He's facing left. He's still wearing blue. And if you notice there wasn't a huge jump. We didn't really notice a whole lot happen, all right? He still died. He still simply died and fell over, and that's pretty awesome. Let's try it one more time so you guys can see it working. Jump over here. He's facing right. He's wearing blue, and he's got pale skin this time. All right, one more time. Let's hope that we get him facing the opposite direction. That's really what I wanted to see to make sure. Yes, he is. Again, this time he's wearing a white shirt. Let's see how it goes. One more shot. He's going to fall over. He should still be wearing a white shirt, and we shouldn't really notice too big of a jump. All right, a slight jump there, but you know what? In fast-paced action, we're probably not even going to notice that. Now, that is great. The problem, of course, is we got around the problem, and the problem was the flipping. It's a workaround, guys. If you are following through this, normally we don't have to do all the extra crap we did here. We did save ourselves a lot of time in not having to animate both directions. We saved ourselves a lot of time doing that, but we had to come up with this workaround, this extra plan. All right, and that's not always the best. You will always have issues whenever you're coding. You will always have issues whenever you're making a game. You'll always come to something where you say, oh, geez, I have to do a workaround. And that's exactly what I had to do here. Anyway, guys, that's all part of gameplay. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that. That is the end of the episode. Our zombie will now die, and that is great. Even if he's running at us, let's try and kill him when he's running at us. Let's try and see what happens. Run at me. Detect me. All right. So no matter what, he still dies. No matter which way he's going. I hit my record button again. I turned it off again. Anyway, guys, that is the end of the episode. I really hope you enjoyed it. I hope you guys have a ragdoll zombie now in your scene, or a ragdoll something in your scene. Whatever game you're making, I would really like to see it. I really hope everything's coming along really well. I'm recording these early. I'm recording this just after Christmas. In fact, this is my second video after Christmas. I did both of these ragdoll things after Christmas, and boy, did that several weeks break affect me. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, let me know down below with a thumbs up. And if you didn't, oh well, find someone else's videos to watch then. I do my best. Thumbs down if you really want to, but make sure you tell me why. I really hate getting thumbs down with no explanation why. Just a thumbs down. Thumbs down if you don't like the content. Tell me what you didn't like, all right, guys? And I will do my best to try and improve. Anyway, thumbs up, thumbs down, comments down below, and if you haven't done so, please take a few seconds to subscribe. Have yourselves a wonderful day, everyone.